I'm Eric Rich of Rich Asset Management, and you're watching South Jersey Business with Joe Molyneux.
Welcome to South Jersey Business with Joe Molyneux. Thank you for joining us as we share information, tips, and techniques that can make our business community and your business more successful. Thank you to Stockton University for the opportunity to produce this South Jersey Business program. On today's program, we will talk with Eric Rich, President and founder of Rich Asset Management, located in Memora, New Jersey. Eric will share portions of his entrepreneurial story, as well as his experience of growing his business and serving the ever-evolving needs of the residents of our region. I've had the privilege to know Eric and his team since he started his entrepreneurial journey. With vision, determination, and taking action when an opportunity presented itself, Eric has built a solid business based on guiding principles he will share with us right here on South Jersey Business. Stay tuned for our conversation with Eric Rich of Rich Asset Management and more on South Jersey Business with Joe Molyneux. Welcome back to business. Thanks for joining South Jersey Business with me, Joe Molyneux. Please welcome our guest, President and founder of Rich Asset Management, Eric Rich. Eric, welcome to South Jersey Business.
Thanks, Joe.
So take us back to the beginning. How did you start your entrepreneurial journey?
I started out as a pre-med major in college and realized quickly that that wasn't really what I wanted to do. I liked business more. And I always had an affinity for this business ever since I was a kid, buying shares of stock as a teenager, really. And but I always wanted to run a company the way I envisioned it. And when you work for somebody else, you don't get to do that all the time. So I changed it around a little and went out on my own and built it exactly the way I always dreamed about.
Now, you and I have known each other for a few years, and we always talk about this idea of having mentors and being a mentor. I know you had a mentor. How important was that to the process and to your success in business?
It was huge. I mean, having a mentor is having someone that's made all the mistakes so that you don't have to. You know, they've done things in business. They've tried things that were successful. They tried things that failed, and you get to learn from that without having to learn the hard way. So to me, having a mentor was huge. I would never be where I am today without my mentor.
Now, when you started, you definitely had a plan, but at what point in your business life did you realize the plan that you set for yourself was actually working?
I think really where it hit us was when we decided to specialize in one specific area. You know, most of the need that we saw was in our expertise, which is income planning and retirement. And when we put all of our efforts into that one area, the company just took off from that point on.
That's great. Can you talk a little bit briefly about each of the different services you provide at Rich Asset Management?
Sure. The main focus of our firm is income planning during retirement. So we typically work with retirees within 5 years of to 20 years after retirement. But we also have a niche practice in college planning as well. So we do a lot of college planning for people. We do that because it's a passion of ours.
Isn't that ironic? We're here at Stockton University and we're going to be talking about college planning at some point.
That's right.
In your business, trust and relationships are pivotal to success, and we've talked about that. Can you talk a little bit about how you develop trust in relationships?
I mean, for me personally, you can tell when someone isn't interested in forming the relationship, when they're trying to fake it, for lack of a better word. And you can see right through it. So I think where I find that I develop that trust early on in a relationship and in business is that people know it. They can sense early on that I'm really there to help them. And again, it's something you just can't fake. You're either there to help them or you're there to help yourself. And when they can tell that you're really there for them, that trust develops pretty quick.
Well, thank you very much for sharing, Eric. We'll be right back with more business talk with Eric Rich of Rich Asset Management. We are back with Eric Rich of Rich Asset Management. Eric, how do you define success in business?
Well, I can tell you, it's not a number or an income level. Success to me is being able to help as many people as possible. It's about being viewed as an authority in your business and what you do based on your education and your training and experience. So to me, it's a combination of all of those things, but it all boils down to helping as many people as you can. When you can do that consistently over time, that to me is when you reach a level of success.
It's a great line of thinking, and I think I'm going to keep the questions on that line of thinking. You're talking about helping people every day in the work you do, but your organization, your business specifically, has been a huge community supporter as well as business community supporter. You're so involved. Can you talk about how that came about and the importance of that when you're in business?
Sure. I joined the Cape May County Chamber of Commerce when I started in business 20 years ago and became a board member for the Business Development Committee at the time. And, the Chamber's a great organization, as all the regional chambers are, because they function to support local businesses. So helping those businesses succeed helps all of us because we then in turn support those same businesses. And I always say keeping money local is the way to do it. The more money we can keep in the community, the more money ultimately stays still in the community by purchasing more goods, more services, and everything from local business owners.
I've known you for a number of years, and I watched you develop this really great team. Every great business that I worked with or talked to has a really solid team. Can you talk about how you developed that team and that trust within your team to be more successful in business?
Your team is the engine that drives the car. So without your team, you don't have a business. I always say it's impossible to be successful in business without having a good quality team. So to me, my mentor used to joke, but he was mostly serious, and he said, overpay your staff. That way you're getting the best. And treat them very well and treat them the way you'd want to be treated. And they start to buy into the philosophy and culture of the company. And when you can do that, that's what really makes everything work.
What's one of the most important business lessons you've learned in operating your business for so long?
You're the everything when you first start. Friends of mine will always say, oh, it's great, you can come and go as you please, and you set your own hours. And I said, you need to understand, I'm the janitor. I'm the CEO. I'm the marketing people. I'm the accountant. I'm the everything. You are the company when you first start out, especially before you have staff and everything else. So there's a lot of moving parts there. So I guess the big lesson I learned was that running a business isn't just doing what it is you do for a living. It's actually a whole separate thing running the company itself.
Well, we talked about the past, we talked about the present, might as well talk about the future. What does the future hold for Rich Asset Management?
Well, we're growing by leaps and bounds right now. So we want to continue growing both organically and through strategic acquisitions. The average age of an advisor in our industry is a little over 60 years old. So there's going to be a lot of changes in the coming years, and we hope to acquire some more firms in the future.
I think that's a great outlook, plan, and vision for the organization. Thanks for being part of the show today, Eric.
Thanks, Joe.
That was Eric Rich of Rich Asset Management of Memora, New Jersey. We'll be right back with more South Jersey business. As you are aware, management, marketing, money, and media are the essential parts of any business, and the business of managing financial assets in the South Jersey region is no different. So it's time for the M4 Big Money Question. Eric, so let's talk about the M4 Big Money Question. We'll break them down one at a time. Talk to me about your management style.
My management style, again, developed from my mentor. He said, spend an awful lot of time selecting employees. Hire slow, fire fast. But he said, when you hire that right person, you leave them alone. Hire smart people and let them do their job. Don't get in the way, just let them do what they do. They're hired for a reason to do something better than you're capable of doing it. So therefore, let them do it.
That's really great.
Hands off.
That's a really great philosophy. I like that. All right, so management, let's talk about marketing. A little bit about your marketing.
My marketing is mostly Radio, obviously, as you know, we do the radio show every week. So we do a lot of that. We do a lot of workshops. For me, education is everything. So I see myself as an educator to my clients and to potential clients. So everything we do is geared towards educating the community.
Yeah, not to get too much on a tangent, but I think that connection that you make through your marketing is key. You talked about the face-to-face and then connecting with people through the radio and even a television program like this.
Yep. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so money, not the most important thing, and maybe not the main focus, but even in the world of your business, money's so important. But how do you apply it to the business?
You know, you have to find out where the dollars are being spent in the smartest possible way. So for me, we do budget every quarter, and we look at where are we spending money and where are we seeing return for those dollars spent. And you start to concentrate all your efforts into one area when it starts to really work for you.
You know, I've heard you speak publicly a number of times, and you do mention when you're out there and ask the question about investing in oneself, and we may do a segment later in the show about this, but how important is that when they're making financial decisions for the future? If they have their own business and they're investing in their own business, that's part of the equation, correct?
It really is. I mean, a lot of people say, well, is it okay if I spend money on this? And I really view some of those things as an investment, not an expenditure, because putting money into yourself, back into your business, on things that you know are going to have a return on that money is like any other investment, and usually it's even better than most investments.
You know, it's funny, I follow you on social media, both personally and professionally. You guys do an excellent job on that, but how important now is social media to the equation of reaching people?
It's really important for us. I mean, Facebook and LinkedIn, all the other avenues that exist today. It's a way for us to get that education message out there. So it's just new avenues that we use in order to educate people about different financial subjects that they've just always wondered about but never really understood.
You know what's kind of nice about your mix between your marketing and your social media? I notice you use those in tandem. So you're actually staying on top of letting people know when you're on the air and when you're having a seminar through your social media. Do you find that to be effective?
We do. A lot of people have told us that that's how they reached us. They heard about they saw something on social media and then tuned in after the fact, and they really like that. So,
Eric, I want to thank you for sharing your M4 Big Money question with us today. There you have it. Eric Rich of Rich Asset Management's fine financial mix of management, marketing, money, and media. Welcome back. On today's 3-minute drill, we will discuss money, specifically ways to access capital and financial resources to help you either start or grow your business. When it comes to small business financing, many times people begin by focusing on the money it will take and how they will acquire the funds they need. They consider this first and foremost during the development process of a startup or growth of a small business. In most cases, money is the one last thing you should consider. A key to unlocking the funding process is to position your ask for the funding at the correct time. It should come only after you have shown the capability of running the business and considered ways to prove you have the capacity to pay back the money being borrowed. The lending process can make or break a small business before they even open their doors or make their first sale. Any individual or group seeking funds needs to know exactly how they're going to use the money. This should be the first step. Researching the expenses you may encounter when starting a business can be difficult. Rents, building and utility deposits, equipment, inventory, marketing, employee costs, and working capital are some of the areas that need to be taken into consideration. Unforeseen and hidden costs can surface at any time in the development of a new business. This also holds true for a small business experiencing growth. One of the main differences in these entities is that an existing business has a history. The ability to examine real costs as well as unforeseen expenses is a huge advantage. Yet many existing businesses never take advantage of this opportunity. In some cases, the historical information is a key factor in receiving or not receiving the funding. The information needs to be presented properly to allow the business to come to the lender from a position of strength. For startup and existing businesses, the answer can lie within their business plan. A clear, concise document with a narrative of the business or potential business complemented by financial information to support the payback and funds borrowed or invested. Another key point to securing funding for a small business may need to be presented in a plan that people can actually look at and examine when they're going to loan you the money. Doing the research in this area is also extremely important. There are basic options or sources for lending. Your own funds. If you have money available, then investing in your own idea or business is an inexpensive way to fund your business. However, you may need to consider saving some of your money for unforeseen or rainy days. It may be necessary to use your money to leverage accessing additional funds. When you invest in yourself, you lose the ability to invest in money somewhere else. But if you don't believe in your business enough to fund it or take some risk, why would you expect others to do so? Friends and family. One of the best things, or potentially the worst things, is borrowing money from friends and family. If they believe in you and you have proven the knowledge to operate the business, have a solid plan, and demonstrated the ability to earn enough money to pay them back, you may be able to negotiate friendly terms for the payback of your friends and family. Commercial lending. These institutions and supported lending programs are a good source for funding. This is traditionally where most people go when seeking funding. Banks have guidelines and goals that dictate the type and amounts of lending they offer to businesses. They have set rates and interest terms that you both agree on prior to accepting the funds. Some types of loans are more difficult to get based on economic factors, certain industries with high risks of failure, and even some things like geographic locations can play a part in accessing commercial loans. Government programs can assist commercial lenders to help offset the risk to the banks. Investors and even crowdfunding. This is an area that runs the spectrum from small amounts of dollars to millions of dollars and more. The most important thing to remember when getting involved with any outside investors or even people you know is to make sure both parties have a clear understanding of the investment and the written agreement that defines the investment. Don't agree to terms that seem unfair or those that could affect you and your business in a negative way. The choice on where to go for funding is based on many factors. We have touched briefly on 4 areas that can potentially help you secure funding for your business. They are your own funds, friends and family, commercial lenders, and along with government lending programs, and don't forget investors and crowdfunding. And don't forget everything from credit to collateral to potential earnings to the viability of their business comes into play. So there you have it, a few quick thoughts on 4 ways to access capital to start your business for this week's 3-minute drill. We'll be right back. Having a good community conscience is an important part of building solid business relationships in the region where your customers, friends, and families live. Making a real difference through giving can be part of making a living in business. Here's how this week's guest gets involved to make our communities and region stronger. Dean, can you talk a little bit about the foundation you formed back in 2001?
Yeah, it started in 2001. My brother and I were going through the airport. He was dropping me off. I was going out to the U.S. Open, and we're trying to like brainstorm like how can we make this negative situation into a positive. We're like, let's do a contest to raise money for people dealing with cancer. I had health insurance at the time, and we were like, well, what if I didn't have health insurance? I would have paid for this. So we're like, let's run a contest and then turn it. Let's get a charity going, and that's where it kind of started. Let's get organize a charity and raise money for people dealing with cancer that didn't have health insurance.
So as a direct result of what you were facing, you and your brother got together. You must have found other people to work with you on this, because it's not easy to start a foundation on your own. There's a lot of work that has to be done. So how did that take place?
We just said, hey, we're going to do this. We organized the contest. We had a lot of people jump in. A lot of friends of mine, a lot of people I grew up with kind of jumped in, and they really helped out and got the thing off the ground. And it's morphed over the years. Now we've raised almost $1 million, and no one gets paid. And kind of just it's great to give back and help people dealing with cancer.
There's two different things I'd like to ask you about. One is, we talked earlier in the show about the culture of surfing, and it really does have a culture of its own. Do you think that made it easier to connect with people because you were already connected through that common cause of keeping the ocean clean and the vibe of everybody? It's a peaceful kind of journey out there, and when it's difficult, it seemed like they all banded together. Is that something you found when you were forming and growing the foundation?
Yeah, certainly. We're all we have a lot of camaraderie amongst each other, and a brotherhood in Jersey, and we all stay strong. I don't know. I think it definitely, friendships, we all came out to support a good cause. And I mean, people doing it today, the board members and everything, they come out for the cause, to help people dealing with cancer. So they don't have to worry about their medical bills or how they're paying their mortgage, and take so much pressure off. And we've had other people on the board that have had cancer, and they know what the struggles are.
We're hard-pressed to find someone who isn't touched by cancer in some way, their family or as an individual. I had an opportunity to read some of the testimonials of the work you had done, and these are people in your community whose parents were suffering or a cousin was suffering, and you were able to help them. The foundation was able to help them. I have to believe that's one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah, it's amazing. Without all the board members and the community coming together, I mean, this would never take place. It's so much, bigger than I ever thought it would become. It's just wonderful. People jump out of the woodwork to come out and help and donate and support the cause.
I know it's a lot of work, but I also see a lot of smiles at those events. It seems like everybody's having a really good time helping people through a difficult time. Do you find that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, these board members, they put so much time and effort into these events, and it's just amazing what they do. And like I said, it wouldn't be possible without them, and it wouldn't be possible without the community coming out together to support the events and have fun. We basically try to make the events around fun and raise money for a good cause at the same time.
Well, I want to thank you for two things, Dean. One, for being a good friend, and number two, for starting such a worthwhile foundation, keeping it running all these years. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Dean Randazzo, professional surfer and founder of the Dean Randazzo Cancer Foundation. As a proud graduate of Stockton, it is wonderful to meet and speak with so many business people in our region who have a past or a current link to the university as well. Let's plug into a Stockton Community Connection. Mike, you had a very interesting connection with the Stockton community. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, I was introduced to Professor Donna Albano by Sharon Franz, the Director of Sales of Steel Pier, and I was telling her about this new concept, Atlantic City Your Way, and Donna said this would just be the greatest subject for our tourism marketing class, and they were to create a marketing plan for the company, and the students put it together and then presented it to me, and it was very exciting, very interesting, and I think the students enjoyed the subject matter, and it touched all bases of tourism, so I think it was educational as well. And then some of the ideas were great, and I loved them and used them, except for the giant billboard on the expressway, which wasn't in my budget. But certainly a lot of social media was a big part of what we do now, which was part of that class, a big part of it. And then as the company was growing, I needed an intern. And I thought, what better than using one of the students who was in the class, because they understood what the business was. And Donna put a message out, and a young man named Jared Lewis showed up, and it's just been great. And I have a challenge to myself to try to figure out how to keep him when he's ready to graduate. But he's got a lot of talent, so that's not going to be easy to do.
So could you speak a little to the value of utilizing the students? Because a part of your marketing plan is to market to millennials and these young people that are trying to find new and unique ways to visit Atlantic City and do things in the area. So how valuable was their input?
Immensely. I'm sort of an old guy, so the social media thing and me just really don't connect. I don't understand it, but I know it's important. So the ideas that I see coming from these young people, and we have some other young people as well, and they just have a handle on it. They know what to do. They keep me informed of what's going on. I'm trying to learn from them, but it's been invaluable to the company, and the websites are getting a lot of business. We're even starting to book show tickets, which is a result of some of the work that Jared has done.
That's great. How easy was it to work with the Stockton community?
It was not just easy, it was fun, it was rewarding to be part of somebody's education and to see great new ideas and people that you look forward to grow in tourism because you want to provide jobs for people who are talented and educated and are going to make this community great and make this destination great.
That's great. Another positive example of the Stockton community connecting with the South Jersey business community. We'll be back with more South Jersey Business with Joe Molyneux. The more people that watch South Jersey Business here in our region, the more questions we continue to receive. And of course, we do our best to respond to your questions. So it's time for Q&A. Here's this week's question. Dear South Jersey Business, I'm planning on going into business with a good friend of mine. Anytime I mention writing a business agreement, she tells me not to worry. Should I worry? That's a great question, and the short answer is yes. You should always be concerned about or worry when entering into a situation without a clear understanding or a document detailing out the relationship and the rules that you both agree to when it comes to partnering in business. The more official term for the rules can come in the form of an operating agreement. I would strongly suggest you and your potential partner get together and discuss creating a document to help you better plan for potential problems that may arise from partnering in business. Start by looking at some existing operating agreements that have been created for businesses similar to the type of business you and your potential partner are starting. Review the documents separately and add elements that you feel are important to you. Then get together and compare notes. A number of things could occur. Number one, you could see you are not aligned and need to work closer on the way you will operate portions of the business. Number two, you could see you are both in agreement on many or perhaps all of the areas of the operation and business. Or number three, you could realize that neither of you have a clue and need some outside assistance. So if you get in front of all the elements you should consider in creating an operating agreement, you are less likely to have to worry should a situation arise between you and your partner. I hope that helps answer your question. We'll be right back. Well, that's the show. We had an informative discussion with Eric Rich, president and founder of Rich Asset Management of Memora, New Jersey. We answered a question and even identified some options for funding for your new or growing business during our 3-minute drill. Once again, thank you to Stockton University and everyone that makes this program possible. Let's do it again next week. Until then, let's get growing, South Jersey. Thanks for watching.